question you probably don't hear very often, but we are going to ask it. Should students be allowed to bring guns to school? Well, a lot of folks would probably say no right off the bat, but you might not be so sure of your answer after you hear why some college kids in one state are pushing to pack heat. Fox's Douglas Kennedy has the details for us now. Douglas?
Yeah, well, essentially, Heather, they say college campuses have become unsafe. Some say it's an extreme solution, but they say these are extreme times.
They just started coming in the library and opening fire.
Columbine, Virginia Tech, Northern Illinois University. School shootings that have left many students feeling scared and defenseless. Feelings Michael Guzman doesn't like.
We should be afforded the same right to protect ourselves on campus as we're already afforded off campus.
Guzman is a student at Texas State University and president of Students for Concealed Carry on campus at Texas State. He wants the Texas legislature to rescind a law barring students from packing heat on college campuses.
We have the right to defend ourselves off campus with a concealed handgun license. It makes no sense that once you cross an imaginary line that for some reason you can't be trusted.
Currently, 38 states, including Texas, ban concealed weapons on school grounds, with Utah being the only state that specifically allows packing pupils. Still, some of Guzman's fellow students aren't so sure it's a good idea.
I mean, it could go off in a classroom, it could, so many things could go wrong, and I honestly would not feel safe with someone having a gun in their backpack.
Guzman points out that training for a concealed weapons permit is extensive, and he says it will only take one campus gunman to convince the naysayers.
It just takes one person that is in those situations to possibly stop this. It really devolves to us, the victims or intended victims, to be able to defend ourselves.
Guzman says a bill he's supporting will be introduced in Texas in January. He says it already has the support of many Texas lawmakers. He also says, Heather, it has the strong support of Texas Governor Rick Perry.
Douglas, thank you so much. That's fascinating. All right. The Supreme Court, of course, has just ruled on the right to bear arms on the D.C. gun ban situation there. And now our judge is going to rule on the right to bear arms in school. Fox News senior judicial analyst Judge Andrew Napolitano is here now. Okay, Judge, so what do you think about this? A lot of schools prevent this, students from bringing guns on campus,
right.
But certainly a whole lot of states, 38, prevent it as well.
Well, when the Supreme Court ruled last month about the right to keep and bear arms, it was referring to the right to keep and bear arms of adults in their homes. Now, that doesn't mean that students automatically can't have guns in schools. It means it's up to the state legislatures. The states can legitimately keep the guns off campus.
And many states do say that in sensitive areas, people can't carry guns.
Correct. But think of this. In the tragedy at Virginia State, we learned in the weeks after that 6 students in those classrooms had guns in their automobiles or at home. 2 of them were members of the military. 2 were members of ROTC. All had been licensed and trained to use those guns. If Virginia Tech had not barred them from carrying their legally owned guns into the classroom, and if they had had the courage to use them, they might have stopped the tragedy from happening.
Okay, but critics of this would say it makes schools less safe, and the guns could be in the hands of nuts.
That's always a chance. It's like saying an automobile could be in the hands of a crazy person. The state has the right to license, and especially in the case of young people, the state has the right to make sure they know how to use the gun. And in Mr. Guzman's case in Texas, he has a very compelling argument for guns. Remember the tragedy at the University of Texas in 1966? A crazy guy gets at the top of the tower. He starts shooting at students. An English professor took his own gun and shot the student. And that's how the tragedy ended.
Quickly, about 10 seconds left. Do you think this is the beginning of a trend where more and more students are going to start saying, yes, we want to do this?
Yes, and I think courts and legislatures will let people protect themselves because the police can't be everywhere all the time.
Can courts then say, or can the states then say, you have to be trained properly? You have to go through all these, not obviously the security checks, but also the testing?
Just like they make sure we know how to drive our cars, they can make sure we know how to shoot our guns.
All right, Judge Andrew Napolitano, thanks so much. Douglas
You're welcome,
Kennedy,
Mother.
thank you to you too. We'll be right back.